In this presentation, we will be learning about the main characters of Sister Carrie. We will be learning about Carrie, Hurstwood, and Dre. We will first explore their role in the plot, then their characterizations, and finally we will focus on their backgrounds. My thesis is as follows. Theodore Dreiser crafts multidimensional, interesting characters by taking inspiration from his own life as well as other literary works of his time. First, let's discuss Carrie and her role in the plot. The story begins with Carrie traveling to Chicago from a rural town in Wisconsin. She then meets Drew and moves in with him, pretending to be his wife. Soon after, Carrie leaves Drew for Hurstwood and moves to New York. She eventually leaves Hurstwood due to financial troubles. The story ends for Carrie with her success as an actress. Throughout the story, Carrie's most prominent character trait is her materialism. She is obsessed with clothing and fashion. She always feels the need to portray the image of a wealthy, elegant woman. For instance, in one scene, Carrie seems to feel relieved from stress by shopping and looking at clothes. Quote, "Now for relief from distress, she thought she would go in and see. She would look at the jackets." With the exception of her relentless materialism, Carrie proves to be a dynamic character. In the beginning of the story, she is a naive farm girl. However, she grows into an independent and wise city woman. The most important events in the story, Hurstwood's robbery and Carrie's kidnapping, are based on the experiences of Dreiser's sister, Emma Dreiser. However, there are some differences between the real-life occurrences and the story in Sister Carrie. Let's explore those now. Unlike Hurstwood, L.A. Hopkins, who is the real-life version of him, was from the less affluent West Side, as opposed to Hurstwood's North Side. Additionally, in the real-life version, Emma Dreiser was not abducted, but rather seemed to help Hopkins with his plan. Let's shift gears and focus on George Hurstwood and his role in the plot. Hurstwood is first introduced as a friend of Drouet's. Then, he courts Carrie and takes her from Drouet. When Carrie finds out that Hurstwood is married, she cuts off contact from him. Hurstwood then steals money from his company, abducts Carrie, and takes her to New York. After falling into poverty, Hurstwood is left by Carrie and kills himself. Hurstwood is an interesting character as he changes throughout the story. At the beginning of the novel, Hurstwood is glamorous, wealthy, and well respected by his community. He experiences a downward spiral and becomes depressed, idle, and apathetic. Hurstwood is based on Dreiser's sister's husband, L.A. Hopkins. Like Hurstwood, L.A. Hopkins took money from his employer and ran away to New York. This is shown in the following quote from the Chicago Mail in 1886. At 6 o'clock last evening, Mr. L.A. Hopkins, a trusted employee at the main house of Chapin and Gore, closed up the safes and vault and disappeared. When the house was opened this morning, it was discovered that about $3,500 and jewelry worth about $200 had also disappeared. Drouet first meets Carrie on the train to Chicago, where he courts her. Drouet then wins Carrie over, and she pretends to be his wife. However, Carrie then leaves him for Hurstwood. Dre can be characterized as a flirt. As put by Professor Phyllis, quote, "In today's terms, Dre would be called a fuckboy." He is also a bit dim, as contrasted by the clever Hurstwood. He loved to make advances to women, to have them succumb to his charms, not because he was a cold-blooded, dark, scheming villain, but because his inborn desire urged him to that as a chief delight. Unlike Carrie and Hurstwood, Dre's character does not appear to have a clear connection to anyone in Dreiser's life. However, Dreiser takes inspiration from author George Ade's story The Fable of the Two Mandolin Players and the Willing Performer. In fact, Dreiser included in his manuscript, quote, "a number of sentences taken verbatim from Ade's description of the willing performer." Also, Dreiser seemed to take influence from the quote, "masher" character type found in Ade's work. For instance, in chapter 1, Dreiser uses quote, "George Ade's description of the masher type." Clearly, Dreiser was very inspired by Ade. This concludes my presentation on Sister Carrie and the character backgrounds. I hope to have shown that by using influences from his own life as well as inspiration from other authors, Dreiser creates unique and exciting characters. Thank you for your time.